build a strong two-pawn center with d4. Black will often discourage this plan with c5, the counter-attacking Sicilian defense, or with the more solid classical response, e5. Now that Black's central pawn controls the d4 square, White typically plays knight f3, often preparing an eventual d4 pawn break when the position is ready to support this desirable move. In this video, we are going to explore the radical decision to strike in the center immediately with d4. White throws caution to the wind and decides to play d4 immediately. When facing d4, especially at such an early stage, it's important to immediately break up the two-pawn center with e takes d4. We're going to examine two approaches by White, c3, inviting gambit play that can lead to the Danish Gambit. Let's first take a look at White immediately regaining the pawn with queen takes d4. Known as the center game, moving the queen out too early is generally not a good idea, so it makes sense for Black to challenge the queen, as well as gain a tempo for development, with knight c6. White has a variety of queen moves, but the most common is to centralize the queen with queen e3. White's queen supports the e4 pawn while preventing Black's dark-squared bishop from occupying the desirable c5 square. Black wants to achieve the desirable d5 pawn break, so the queen also discourages this idea at the moment. On the other hand, placing the queen on the e-file means Black will likely target its position with the future rook e8 after castling. The queen also restricts the bishop on c1 from actively entering the game, but White's general plan is to play knight c3, bishop d2, followed by queenside castling. Black has a variety of interesting ideas to explore. One way to solve the problem of the dark-squared bishop is to fianchetto with g6 and bishop g7, enjoying good activity down the long diagonal. World champion Magnus Carlsen, when facing this rare opening as Black, activated the bishop with the disruptive bishop b4 check. This move is trying to provoke c3, which would restrict White's queenside knight from its most active square. White may respond with knight c3, which will transpose into the main line we're about to examine. Black's most natural response is the straightforward developing move knight f6, adding pressure against White's center while preparing a future d5 pawn break once it proves desirable. If White decides to lunge forward with e5, this is well met by knight g4, forking the queen and e5 pawn. Thanks to the early queen excursion, White is lagging behind in development, so White should focus on addressing this issue with knight c3, supporting the e4 pawn while also increasing control over the contested d5 square. This move also allows Black to actively develop with bishop b4, pinning the knight, a key defender of the e4 pawn. Black is ready to castle, followed by creating serious pressure down the e-file with rook e8, so White needs to think carefully about king safety. White addresses this issue while preparing to sharpen the game with bishop d2, unpinning the knight while preparing queenside castling. So White is ready to meet kingside castling by castling on the opposite side of the board. White is hoping to generate attacking chances on the king side, but this is not so easy to accomplish against Black's active forces. Black's most promising idea is to intensify the pressure against White's center with rook e8. Grandmaster Jan Nepomniachtchi, one of the few grandmasters willing to occasionally defend the white side of this position, has tried two different